Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Meanahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey folks, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Jobstacles, and it's self-published by designer Steve Robinson. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. There's going to be a link down beneath this video in the description section, as well as up in the top corner of your screen. Those links will take you to the Kickstarter project page. You can find out more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, Jobstacles is a party game where players are trying to not only, one player each turn is going to be the hiring manager who's actually trying to fulfill a position, but the other players are trying to put forth the best candidate for that position. But then every player has a chance to sort of foil that nomination by putting negative effects or actually by promoting their candidate secretly, hopefully, by putting a good trait on them. So you're just trying to make the best candidate possible for the position that the hiring manager has flipped over. And of course, that's easier said than done, but at least everyone gets a chance to be the hiring manager. Let me go ahead and give you a brief look at how the game is played with a prototype version of the game. So what you see here may change in the final version. Just keep that in mind. Then we're going to come back. I'll give you my final thoughts. Jobstacles is a competitive party game for 3 to 8 players. One player each round will be the hiring manager, who is trying to find the best candidate for an open position. The other players are trying to submit candidates for the job and be recognized for their talent at seeking out talent, and avoid the obstacles, or should I say, jobstacles, that their opponents throw in their way. The goal is to be the player who first wins 3 job cards. There are 2 decks of cards in the game, jobs and jobstacles. Job cards will be used for 2 things. First, the hiring manager will use 1 each round as an open position that must be filled. Second, whoever is not the hiring manager for the round will be submitting a job card to represent their chosen candidate. Jobstacle cards, as the name implies, are impediments to the success of your candidates. While some cards are not all that bad, or possibly even positive, for the most part they are terrible deficiencies which may keep the manager from hiring you. Shuffle both decks and deal 3 of each type of card to each player. Choose a player to be the hiring manager for the round. He or she will flip over the top card of the job deck. Whichever job it is, each player besides the hiring manager must now submit a job card face down that they think represents the best candidate for the job. Then, these cards are shuffled and placed face up, so no one knows which card belongs to which player except for what they themselves submitted. With all the candidates on the table, each player in order now has a chance to play a Jobstacle card on a candidate. You might play something horrific on someone else's card, or a semi-good one on one of your own. After this, the hiring manager must choose one nominee that they think is either best suited for the job, or is just the funniest. They get the job card as a point, and every other played card gets wiped away and the hiring manager switches to the next player. Players always draw back up to 3 and 3. Then, do it all over again until someone reaches 3 points. That's Jobstacles. On to my final thoughts. Jobstacles is very interesting because, admittedly, there are a lot of games out there right now that fall into the same broad party game category of it being a card game with a judge and having to determine the comedic validity of a certain aspect of the game. But I think that Jobstacles adds more game to it. And what do I mean by that? The idea that you have the 2 types of cards, which again is common to some other games as well, but both, at any given time, all the players in the game are engaged to use those 2 cards. You're submitting a job as a candidate for the position that is open, but then you're able to use your other cards, your Jobstacle cards, to actually try and either foil your opponents or promote your candidate, which is another interesting layer to the game, because it's kind of like if you have the last shot at putting down one of the Jobstacle cards, it'd be like, oh great, I can maybe sidle a good one or good-ish one over to the candidate that I want to win, that's going to give me the point. Whereas if it's earlier in the round, that might be giving away too much information, then the other players pile on, that type of thing. It's not a huge part of the game, it's a kind of a subtle thing, but it is interesting that it's in there. And again, these kind of things, even though it seems relatively minor, add more game to the game. And I think for that reason, it's going to have a little more crossover appeal than some other games, which are just really, really simple, making one type of decision. That's it. And the idea, too, that in this game, you could the hiring manager, the judge in this case, could go for whatever is the silliest, funniest, goofiest, whatever, or for whatever personal reason that they want to choose it, which happens in a lot of these types of games. But they could also choose one that's actually the most valid for what they're trying to do, for filling a position. Choosing someone who actually has the qualifications for the job. So that's not to say that the entire game should be taken seriously, but it is to say that it could be at certain times. So because of those reasons, I think that this is a bit more interesting than a lot of the other games that I've seen out there, and it might draw more people to it. And if you are one of those people, if you generally like these kinds of party card games, but you were looking for something a little bit different, a little more unique, a little more stuff to it, and you know other people that do, and the fact that it's not a really R-rated game either. There's some cards that are PG-ish, mature themes, but not that bad. The fact that you have that aspect to it as well even opens it up more. So if you fall into one of those categories, definitely go to the official Kickstarter project page. You don't have to take my word for it. You can find more information. Click on the link up in the top corner of your screen or down in the description section of the video. Go to the page, find out more information, and hopefully consider backing Jobstacles, self-published by designer Steve Robinson. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.